So I just got the brand new Apple Vision Pro right over here. Here it is. It's pretty crazy. I've decided I'm gonna be wearing this for the next 24 hours. All right, there we go. All wired up, we're in. I'm gonna go off and spend a day with this thing, see what happens. To start out the day, I decided to head over to a local coffee shop to get a quick coffee. I went in wearing the headset and nobody really seemed to notice or care, which is a good thing. I'm blending in already. After getting my coffee, I sat down and got to setting things up on the Vision Pro. First, I connected my iPhone hotspot to the Vision Pro so I have internet everywhere. I started out by checking my Instagram and Twitter pages, see what's going on, see what's up, and then I headed over to my email inbox to check things off and reply to a few emails. And using the Vision Pro really feels a lot like the iPad in many ways. I mean, a lot of the apps available on this device are actually just iPad versions of apps, and because of that, using these apps just feels very natural and very familiar. Now, the Vision Pro has about 2 hours of battery life, which is really not great, especially for a full day of usage. So I decided to connect this 40,000 mAh fast charge capable battery to the USB-C port on the Vision Pro, and this is obviously not the most ideal solution, but it is a solution. I spent some more time here just enjoying my coffee, browsing around, really trying out this headset, and eventually I headed out with my coffee. Walking around with this thing on, having maps or music or videos open as I walk is a pretty crazy thing. I headed towards the closest subway station, but before hopping on, I did have to feed my cats for their first meal of the day. So I opened my auto feeders app and sent out their dry food portions. This is a great example of a ported over app for the Vision Pro, and it works actually pretty well, but some things can be a little bit hard to press if they are smaller UI elements, but overall, being able to even do this is actually crazy. I headed down into the subway to make my way over to a grocery store to grab a couple things, grab some groceries, and make a small lunch and some stuff I can use throughout the week as well. I definitely got some interesting looks as I made my way onto the subway, but I just wanted to stand and relax and enjoy my trip to the store. So I turned on the travel mode before we took off, which you have to turn on every single time you're in a moving vehicle before it starts moving. Whether it's a car, a train, a bus, a plane, whatever, you have to turn this mode on, otherwise it just won't work. Basically, if you're moving at a certain speed with this headset on, it pretty much just knows and says, turn this mode on or you can't use the Vision Pro. And it's kind of annoying, but I got used to it. After some time on the train, I opened up the mindfulness app for the first time to give it a go and take myself out of the subway and into a guided meditation, and it's pretty cool.
We're going to think about fresh perspectives.
After that, I hopped out and headed to the grocery store. But before heading in, I had to make a quick grocery list in the Reminders app. And typing on the virtual keyboard is actually really solid. I know it's not like the quickest typing experience, but for most things, you just reach out, tap all the letters, and it just works. It feels very natural and incredibly futuristic. And into the grocery store I went. I carried along the Reminders app between my fingers like a grocery list, and I dropped it once, so I had to go back and pick it up, but it was pretty interesting navigating the store, grabbing all of my items, and it felt like a grocery simulator game. This was not only the most stressful grocery experience I've ever had, but also the most interesting and unique. After grabbing all the items I needed, I headed over to the checkout and eventually left the store to go home. And soon enough, I was home. It was time to feed my cats again their wet food, so I got everything ready and prepared for them, and they were very excited. And they didn't really care that I was wearing Vision Pro, but you know, they were very happy to be fed their wet food for the day. And then after that, I got out my groceries to put in the fridge and to make my quick sandwich. I opened up a YouTube video to watch while I was cooking, pulled out the recipe, and set an alarm for the Just Egg to check back when it's done. This was, in theory, a very simple sandwich, but it felt surprisingly overwhelming to make in spatial reality. I think I just had way too many things open and too much going on because this was incredibly stressful. But eventually I sat down with it and finally had my first bite to eat for the day, and it was worth the effort. And I watched a video while I ate because, you know, you have to. After I was done eating, I grabbed my laptop to get some work done and also test out the screen mirroring onto the Vision Pro. Setup was very easy, just literally tapping a virtual button, and just like that, I had a massive Mac desktop screen in augmented reality. Pretty crazy. Using the Mac's keyboard and trackpad and the Vision Pro as my screen, I tried out some editing in Final Cut, which felt very natural and honestly just the dream. And also tried finessing a photo edit in Photoshop. And I really think the Mac screen mirroring feature is my favorite part of the Vision Pro. I was also able to open up other Vision Pro apps on the side next to the Mac display to make the ultimate multi-monitor virtual workstation, which is a lot of words, but this is a lot of things happening all at once. And when I was finished working, I just chilled out on the couch for a bit and watched a few YouTube videos in the Safari app. I really hope the YouTube app actually comes to Vision Pro at some point because watching YouTube videos in Safari, while doable, is a little bit cumbersome hitting the play and pause button and skipping forward in videos. I had to head out for the evening to do a few things and also meet up with some friends, but before then, a few simple chores at home. First up, had to clean up some dishes, so I played some tracks. Then, a quick vacuum around my place. Then taking out the trash. And finally, just a quick brush to get minty fresh. And after that, I was ready to head out back into the world again. I walked downtown to the Eaton Center Mall area to do a bit of shopping and browsing. I played some music on the way there, and listening to music in this spatial audio form is really incredible. It feels like music is actually playing in your world versus just in your ears. It's really crazy. And when I got to Yonge and Dundas Square, it just really set in for me how incredible this technology is. With a bunch of apps open, I'm in downtown Toronto, and it felt like nothing I've ever experienced before. It is just, I've already said it before, but it's the future. Although walking around with the Vision Pro on in such a busy part of the city was very stressful and quite overwhelming. I walked through the mall and made a bunch of stops on the way, eventually stopping to check a virtual map of the Eaton Center to see where I have to go. After some browsing, I got what I needed, a couple clothing pieces, and headed back outside. I then got a call from my friend Patrick, and this was my first ever FaceTime video call in Vision Pro. And my persona is pretty interesting. Patrick and I chatted for a bit and made some dinner plans for tonight, and then it was time to head over for dinner. I hopped on the streetcar, got some really interesting looks, and soon enough, I was there. The Mandarin is a buffet restaurant that really is the ultimate melting pot of cultures and cuisines, and it really is Canada in a restaurant. It's incredible. I've been going to the Mandarin various locations since I was like 10 years old, and to be here today, I was very happy. That's plate number 1. I met up with Patrick and we got our plates for the night, and this might be the first ever buffet dinner experience while wearing Vision Pro, and also maybe the first group dinner in Vision Pro. Maybe? After another great dinner, my final stop of the night was a little bowling excursion. I headed to my favorite bowling spot and met up with my friend Liam to tear up those lanes. But first I had to look up some cheat codes because I'm really not so great at bowling. It doesn't improve your gameplay at all. But eventually, after tossing on some tracks and getting in the zone, I was doing pretty well. And it was getting pretty late, so I decided to finally head home. after getting home, I plugged in a super long, like 20-foot USB-C cable into the Vision Pro's battery pack and got in bed. I decided to watch a movie and test out how that experience looks on the Vision Pro screen, and although I can't actually show it on YouTube, it looked incredible. Especially being able to change the background of my environment and putting myself even in a movie theater to watch my movie is really crazy, down to choosing the exact seating position and row. And after the movie was done, I was pretty tired, so time to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to my alarm and hopped out of bed. I fed the cats and then made a quick coffee while listening to some music. I had to catch up on my social apps to see what I missed out on overnight. Then for breakfast, I wanted to make a nice tropical fruit protein smoothie with these frozen fruits, as well as silken tofu and protein powder, of course. And I've really been loving smoothies recently ever since buying this blender, and it's really a great way to start out the day. I sat down with my drink and listened to some tracks while browsing Twitter. I then decided to watch some YouTube videos from the last few days to catch up, but maybe in a bit more of a beautiful atmosphere. This entire experience has really been unlike any other experience I've ever had before, and just like that, a whole 24 hours in Apple Vision Pro had passed. What time is it? So that was 24 hours wearing the new Apple Vision Pro, and I have so many thoughts about this. This was one of the most insane tech experiences I've ever had. Now, I know, this is a product you're probably supposed to be using only at home, maybe if you're flying somewhere on like a long road trip perhaps, but I want to take it to the extreme and actually use it outside in the world. It really felt like the future. I mean, things like grocery shopping, which is a very mundane, boring task, became fun, exciting, and a lot more engaging. And just being able to place windows wherever you want them in your world and they just kind of stay there and they don't move at all is just, it's crazy. I've never experienced technology like this. I definitely was getting a lot of looks wearing this outside in the mall, on the streetcar, on the subway, but nobody really cared that much. I feel like living in a big city wearing something like this, there's far worse things to be worried about, and there's a lot more to be concerned about. Now, actually wearing this thing, walking around, traveling with it, I was expecting to feel really nauseous and sick, and I've had bad experiences with other kind of augmented reality VR headsets before, so I was a little bit worried, but mostly with this, even wearing it a full day, I wasn't really bothered too much. It's also not that heavy of a headset. I really didn't even notice the weight wearing it all day, but yeah, it is something that you probably don't want to wear all day anyways. So that's pretty much it. 24 hours in Apple Vision Pro. Stay tuned, more content is on the way with this headset. Be sure to subscribe if you like this video, like the video if you liked it, comment down below your thoughts on the Apple Vision Pro and what you'd personally use it for, and thanks for watching.
Thank you, Toronto. Thank you very much.